Are Vienna sausages and Mountain Dew the diet to raise the next Kid Rock? Is social media burning our kids' brains? And who the hell is the Wiggler? All that and more today on the Number 2 Show. Hello, you prairie doggers. Got a great show for you today. I got all kinds of cool stuff lined up for you today, all kinds of cool discussions to have. Feel free to log on to the chat live on YouTube. We'll try to monitor that if anything useful comes through, and if not, we might use it on a future episode. You can also call 818-532-1420 for a good time. Call 818-532-1420. You can talk to us live later in a segment. But that is a hotline that is live all the time now for the Number 2 Show. You can call in and tell me anything, dude. Call me at 4 o'clock in the morning and tell me your deepest, darkest secrets, and we'll talk about them. Just don't leave your name or tell me not to use your name. One way or the other, we can bleep it out. That's 818-532-1420. If you want to be on hold for a while, call it now. Otherwise, just wait a minute, goddammit. I'll remind you again. But with that being said, I want to get right to the first segment. It's a segment that we have every single time. I'm excited to bring in, and that's called 15 Minutes with Riz. Peekaboo. Scott Rizzuto, everybody.
Oh, hi. And your 15 minutes starts now.
Set that timer, baby. We got plenty to talk about. How you feeling today, bud?
I think I got an ear infection, but that's okay.
Now, you gave yourself swimmers here. Tell the people quickly of the Number 2 Show audience how you managed to give yourself swimmers here.
Well, my buddy highly recommended this ear cleaning system called the Whoosh, W-S-H, made by a company called something Wolf. And I figure if a wolf's involved, it's got to be good. So I ordered this thing on Amazon. It's like a douche for your ear. So you fill the tank with water, and you put this douche nozzle in your ear, and it shoots. Water is supposed to clear out the earwax. The earwax is supposed to just melt away and just fall out of your ear.
Right. And instead,
so I did the right side. It was okay. And then you know what it was? It came, and the Amazon guy rang the doorbell. I got it. I ran upstairs, unpacked it. I was ready to go. I was ready to clean out my ears, Rafe. Right ear was fine. Left ear. I put this thing in, turn it on, and I go, man, something is not right here. Something's wrong. I think I have weird-shaped ear canals, Rafe.
Like Hank Hill had a narrow urethra?
I think so. I think I got a weird-shaped ear canal.
Okay.
And things went wrong, and woke up the next morning with a terrible ear infection.
Well, I tried to warn you. I told you the best tool. I got this B-Bird kit. It's basically like not that anything couldn't go wrong with that, but it's basically it's like basically it's this, okay? Listen, it's Mike Tyson here telling you it's basically like a orthoscopic ears. You look at your phone, there's a little camera on these tweezers. You can go in there and dig out old earwax. It's been in there since the Fillmore administration, and man.
So you're going full laparoscopic.
It's pretty satisfying when you get it all out of there, man.
Did I call my friend immediately to tell him he basically got me an ear infection through Amazon?
I'm sure you did.
Yes, I did. Of course I did. I had to make him feel as guilty as possible.
Well, you did your job, and that's
Done.
important. We were talking about something. We were talking about today. Quite a few things on the Number 1 Show. I had an email come through that I kind of wanted to throw out there and talk about with you while you're here, while I have your 15 minutes of attention. How you feel about that? Is that all right?
Yeah, please.
So Jake emailed in. He said, Rafe, would you be down to make a spoof, which I hate when people say spoof. That's fine. Make a spoof of the movie Point Break and make
parody.
And make it titled Pork Steak. Not sure how you do it. Just a high thought. What would be your thoughts on it? Thanks. I would. Obviously, original Point Break.
The premise of I was going to say Pork Break.
Yeah, see, it writes itself.
The premise was a bank robbery by a bunch of surfers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what would the premise of this be?
I think the premise of this, well, first of all, Gary Busey will be in it again.
Of course. That goes without saying.
And I think maybe he'll be the main character in this one. Honestly, you just plug in a ragtag group of barbecuers.
Yeah.
Right? But they're robbing bank. Every city they go to, they just canceled one here in St. Louis, Q in the Loop. But there's all kinds of, they go to Vegas on some sort of like barbecue competition, but they're robbing banks all the way there.
They're robbing banks to fund the barbecuing. Mm-hmm. Right, because that meat ain't cheap.
The meat's not cheap.
A good cut of meat is not cheap, so they need to rob a bank to fund their barbecue thing.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I could see a Point Break parody being fun to make. I mean, I would have Gary Busey as still working on the force. But now even more disheveled and discontented than he was in the 90s.
Now, do you remember they put on the president masks?
Yeah.
So what would the masks be?
Maybe vice presidents, something a little less. Who would that be? Quayle?
Cheney. Biden?
You're not going to believe this. Quayle, Cheney, Biden, and Kamala just robbed a bank between here and Reno. Actually, that's starting to take
pretty
shape,
good.
Dude.
This script is starting to come together.
Starting to come together. I mean, you probably get Keanu to do it again, I would imagine. It wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
If you could make that got me thinking about, which it would be very funny to have a parody of that movie made. If you could redo Scott Rizzuto, let's start with not parody, but just remake. If you could remake any movie and you got to be in it, you got to be the starring role of any remake of any movie of all time, what would it be?
Yeah, it'd be Titanic. Just a shot-for-shot remake, but with Margot Robbie as the as the chick I would draw naked. Okay.
So you're basing your entire choice around just maybe getting to be on set with Margot Robbie naked. There's naked. You're not even thinking about your career.
No, and by the way, I never even saw Titanic. I just know that scene.
So you don't even know if it's good?
No. Is it like a chalk drawing?
I have no idea. I'll be honest, I don't know. The movie itself, you want to do a shot-for-shot remake.
Yeah, of James Cameron's Titanic.
There's no iconic role you would choose. That is not what I would think.
Me in the DiCaprio role.
Okay.
Because I love boats.
Yeah.
And in the Kate Winslet role would be Margot Robbie.
Okay.
And we would have to do that whole I draw you scene. We'd have to make sure it's perfect.
Okay.
Man, it's really turned perverted, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you made that choice, that you made that call.
I was going to pick Star Wars, but...
Yeah, I was thinking Goodfellas. You would do a Goodfellas remake or a Star Wars remake.
I figured that's too on the nose.
Yeah. You really threw me off with the Titanic. I mean, I'm proud of you that you would even be willing to entertain any other movie.
It makes sense, though, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. You get where I'm coming from.
I do. I mean, you could have done Wolf of Wall Street. She's also in that with DiCaprio. She's actually in that movie with DiCaprio, and she gets naked a whole bunch.
Yeah, but we're doing a remake. We can't have the same people in it.
Oh, okay. That makes that line of logic checks out. Mm-hmm. I personally would be Frank Dukes in a shot-for-shot remake of Bloodsport. I will take the Jean-Claude Van Damme role, and I will fight that little monkey guy that jumps around like he's trying to find a coconut or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And get to do the splits and hit that big sumo guy in the nuts.
Yeah.
And fight Chong Li. And
is that the one? Bloodsport's the one where they got is it the Kumite?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, I'm going full Kumite, dude. Frank Dukes. I wouldn't change a thing about the story. Not a thing. The only thing I would insert is I would take his dancing scene from the other movie. Was that Lionheart? What's the one where Jean-Claude Van Damme's dancing in a tank top?
That's not Kickboxer, is it?
I don't know. Let's look it up. The people need to see this.
I'm also taking into account like climate of where we're shooting this thing. I don't want to do anything in the desert, so that eliminates all the desert movies.
Okay. You're really coming at this from weird angles. So you would rather shoot it on a set where you're literally going to be in a water tank you're going to be drowning yourself in icy, frigid waters.
Well, why does the water have to be frigid? It's not really the Arctic.
Kickboxer, that's the movie. All right.
Yeah, I was right.
I'm going to try to... Oh, nope, can't play that because I'm not on Facebook. Let's see if we can get YouTube. Here we go. HD.
At U.S. Bank, we think the best...
After this spot from U.S. Bank.
Yeah, after this spot from U.S. Bank, we're going to eventually, here on the number 2 show, get YouTube Premium. That's my goal for 2025.
Which, if you could share that with the number 1 show, the login and password, that'd be great, too, because we're still running on.
Here we go. Like, share my screen, baby. Let's watch this together. The world deserves to see this. I would insert this scene. Look at Jean-Claude. Oh, those guys are jealous of his sweet moves. Look at his dick in those pleated pants. Uh-oh, a second lady's joined the fracas. Okay. He's only 2 Coors Lights in at this point, folks.
Yeah, I love that style of tank top, by the way. Something you'd see on, like, Muscle Beach.
This is how you dance at a wedding after you've had about 3 drinks. I've seen it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's exactly how I'm dancing.
Look at this guy, man. So I would redo Bloodsport, but I would take this specific scene from Kickboxer. It would be the only change I made.
And then move it over there. That makes sense.
I would completely log jam it right into the movie. Just, oh, look at that. Show us the butt.
Sweet moves. Is this early 90s, right?
Oh, had to be early 90s. I just want to get to... There we go. That's the move I'm looking for. Down again. Oh, baby. Hello. Damn, brother. Whew. You do that at a wedding, every bridesmaid. This guy's not liking it. He wants a piece of the action.
Okay, so of all the 90s action stars...
Dance fighting. Yeah.
Were you a Van Damme guy? Were you a Seagal guy?
I mean, I liked them all, but I was a Van Damme guy first and foremost.
See, I'm ashamed to say it now, but I was a Seagal guy.
Yeah, I mean, Out for Justice and all the 3-word titles. There's like Out for Justice, Hard to Kill. It was all these like 3-word Seagal movies. They were good. All the way up, he shortened it to 2 words, Under Siege.
Dude, Under Siege 1 and 2. Well, I think Under Siege 2 is my favorite. Under Siege 2,
that's an
Dark
insane
Territory.
Thing to say. That's an insane
It's the one
thing
we're
to
on
say
the train, and Eric Bogosian's the bad guy.
Okay.
And a young Morris Chestnut is the is like the bell guy on the porter on the train. Oh, who was the daughter? The daughter was
dude. You've already named 3 people I don't know. Do you think I'm going to know the daughter? At
yes,
this point?
She's a famous actress.
Who's the daughter? She works at a Starbucks.
The daughter, she was the one that was on Grey's Anatomy that got like in trouble for bashing the writers.
Katherine Heigl?
Yes.
No way.
Look it up.
Not gonna. I trust you.
And remember, Alyssa Milano was the daughter in, was it Commando? Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Look that up, too.
No, I don't have to look that up. I know all about that because I was an Alyssa Milano aficionado.
Samantha?
I would damn near make my second choice for movie remake for me to star in Poison Ivy 2 just because Alyssa Milano shows her boobies in that. And I think I could probably, I don't know. She's still hot, too, man.
All right, how about this, Rafe?
All right.
Best boobies movie as a kid.
Man, that's a tough one. Because back then, boobies were way more scarce. Far more scarce.
And you couldn't look anything up on the internet.
No, you had to catch it.
You had to catch it on Cinemax.
On VHS or Cinemax. VHS if you were lucky because you could pause it. And then you could, there'd be some tracking issues. There'd be some tracking issues through the nipples or something. But if you got lucky, you'd get to see. I would say Roadhouse is hard to deny because there was Kelly Preston's boobies.
Yeah.
And then there was the other lesser boobies, the girl who gets naked and dances in the club, and then he makes her get down. And then there was a third set of boobies where the guy's having sex in the back room, one of the bouncers, and he's like, I'm going to make you my Saturday night thing, baby. You remember that?
Yeah.
And her boobies are bouncing because he's like doing her doggy style. And like that really blew my mind away. Honestly, I told you before, the Roadhouse made me think you were supposed to have sex standing up because everyone had sex standing up in that movie. I don't know. Patrick Swayze was banging against the wall. That guy was having sex standing up in the storeroom. No one had sex laying down in that movie. So I was a kid.
You didn't have time to do it.
No. And as a kid, I was like, I guess you're supposed to fuck standing up. I didn't know that. Good to know. So I think for the first 4 or 5 times I had sex, I was standing up.
Okay, so that's tops for you?
It's up there. I mean, let's not discount the 3 titties.
That's
Total
my number
Recall.
1.
Yeah.
The 3-breasted woman in Total Recall.
Yeah.
That's number 1.
I mean, that changes your life.
It changes everything.
Yeah, as a child. As seeing that movie as a child, that changed my entire perception of what boobies could be.
Also, let's not leave out, and it doesn't have to be action, the women who are washing the prince's penis in Coming to America.
I kind of blocked that one out of my brain.
The royal penis is clean, and the women stand up topless. I saw that in the theater with my 80-some-year-old aunt.
Yeah, those were good, as were all the Porky's movies.
Should not have taken me to that movie.
Oh, you went with an aunt.
Oh, yeah. She had no idea what it was. And I didn't either. I mean, I was 78, right?
Yeah.
So 10?
Oh,
I was 10 years old, and I saw that in the theater.
Saw what?
Coming to America.
Oh, I thought you said you saw it in 78, and I'm like, you blew my mind.
No,
for a
I
second.
was trying
go,
to
"What?"
think of my age.
Oh, yeah, you were a child.
I was a child.
Oh.
I was a child.
Your aunt learned a lesson.
She has passed.
All good booby movies. Speaking of boobies, before you go, I want to play a little voicemail we got
Yes.
on an event we were both present for, and we'll comment on it, and hopefully I'll have enough time with you to get through
I'll
this.
give an extra minute.
All right, here we go.
This is for Riz and Rafe. When you guys told the story about going out after the comedy show with Jamie Rivers and his girlfriend, and the guy was being a creep towards the girlfriend, and Jamie just kind of laughed it off, I was wondering, what would you guys have done if Jamie hadn't laughed it off and started something, and then looked towards the two of you saying, get in here and join this hockey scrum? Like, how would you have handled that situation? Thanks, guys.
Okay.
First, I'll just say that would never happen. Jamie Rivers can handle himself. Jeez.
Yeah. I can't imagine Jamie Rivers the guy who was an enforcer on the ice in the NHL and is still in phenomenal shape.
Phenomenal
by the way.
shape. As is his girlfriend.
Yes, and for the record, the reason I said speaking of boobies, short version of this story, we were out, someone paid for our meal. It was after one of my comedy shows. I was having dinner with Riz, former NHL Blues star, Jamie Rivers. Someone paid for our meal. We thanked them. We took a picture. As we were taking a group photo, we noticed one of his friends was pinching the zoom on the camera. A fellow comedian called him out and was like, hey, are you zooming in on someone's titties right now? We made him open his phone. There were close-up shots of Jamie Rivers' girlfriend.
Now, mind you, and Ashley, love you dearly.
Love her.
She was wearing a shirt that was very revealing.
Yeah, and great knockers.
Great knockers.
To her own accord, she'd tell you.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, Jamie. If Jamie comes busting through this stall right now.
I know.
If I get checked like right now, just like up against the stall by
No,
Jamie
and
Rivers, that'd be
you know
the
what?
best YouTube moment of my life.
And when he was called out, when the guy was called out about it, you know what Jamie said? I don't blame him.
Yeah, he did. He took it in stride. Now, your question. Off chance Jamie Rivers does have some sort of flashback to Stanley Cup Finals or something like that from years back, and he decides to bounce this guy off of the glass at a Firebirds in St. Charles, I ain't going against him. I can tell you that. Like, I'll pull somebody's jersey over their head and start swinging inside of this Chili's or wherever I don't remember the name of the place we were at.
Now, let's think about this, Rafe. So I'm there, you're there, Jamie's there.
Yeah.
There's a fracas.
Yeah, let's just say more than one guy jumped in. I don't know what Jamie would possibly ever do.
Three of us wind up going to jail. Okay?
Okay.
Having to call Tommy the boss and tell him that three of his air personalities are now in St. Charles jail.
St. Charles jail.
St. Charles County Jail.
Okay.
I think it's worth jumping in.
Me too. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't hesitate at all. I would hop in, I'd swing on somebody, and then, Hubbard would bail us out,
Yep.
I assume, and then maybe fire us all. I don't know. I don't know what their swamp justice clause is, but I'm sure I have one in my contract.
I have a morals clause in my contract where if I'm arrested,
They have the discretion.
they have the discretion of letting me go.
Well, I have that, but I also have I'm entitled to institute one. I'm entitled to institute one brand of swamp justice per year, per contract. That's if somebody pisses me off, I got to go crazy. I got to pimp slap somebody at a remote event. I'm allowed one of those in lieu of my morals clause, and then they can fire me.
Yeah,
if
your
I go
one
otherwise.
swamp justice credit.
Right, and that was important to me. I gave up thousands and thousands of dollars on my contract for that.
I would like to say I would jump in, and I think I'd first try to break it up, honestly. If we're being 100% honest,
Okay.
I would probably try to break it
I
up.
like honesty on this show, Riz.
I would. Well, I'm sitting on a toilet.
What's
I
more
can't be
honest and
anything
vulnerable
but
than
honest.
that? Exactly. Yeah, I don't know that if I'm being honest, if it had escalated to that point, I'm probably just going to jump in. I'm just going to get Jamie's back, and then we'll sort out breaking it up later.
No, of course I would have Jamie's back, but I would do my best to de-escalate the situation because I know it could be
potentially embarrassing.
potential trouble for the three of us.
Yeah.
And a guy taking pictures of Jamie's, girlfriend's cans, is it worth a career over?
Nah, but I'd get in the fight just for the story. That's just who I am. I'd be like, yes, this is bad. I think it'll be forgiven. I think if we beg forgiveness instead of asking permission. And Tommy the boss gets to tell a story about how he had to come bail 3 of his personalities.
Oh, Tommy
would
love it.
He would love it. I think he would go to bat for us. But, so to answer your question, we try to break it up. We definitely get in there. I'm not going up against a former NHL enforcer who also played in Russia for a team called, I'm pretty sure, the St. Petersburg Gulags or something like that. So, all right. Well, that question's been answered.
Okay. I'll see you, buddy.
All right. I feel like, it's like we got to be pushing time.
Oh, you got a bonus.
All right. The bonus is over. Riz is gone. That concludes our first segment called 15 Minutes with Riz. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor, HPV. Everybody's got it. Go to HPV.com and you can get it too. And we're back, baby, from a little break from our sponsors. Those of you watching live on YouTube are like, I didn't see any sponsors. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's called Movie Magic. We're going to put the sponsors in later, okay? And it's going to run on YouTube. You don't have to be fucking assholes about it, okay? I went into a break to make it look cool. You don't have to call me out in the chat, okay? Thank you. Jeez. All right, had a fun time with Riz, and now I want to get into a segment I like to call The Annals of History.
From the Annals of History.
I'm pretty sure he's mispronouncing that, but at this point, I can't afford to have him come in for another voiceover, so that's just what this segment's going to be called, The Annals of History. And today, I want to talk about some history that got made, baby. Some history that got made right here in the state that I record in, Missouri, the United States. What a time to be alive. Because, guys, let me tell you something. I got a headline for you. You want to hear it? Here it is. Missouri parents charged after infant only fed goat milk, sausages, and Mountain Dew. This is not a fake story. This is a real news story I am reporting right now. I'll repeat that for you. Missouri parents charged after infant fed only goat milk, sausages, and Mountain Dew. I'll give you a quick recap of this story. 2 women and 1 man were arrested in rural southwest Missouri for child endangerment charges following a tip to the neglect hotline. According to Douglas County Sheriff's offices, they were 25 miles southeast of Springfield, Mo. Spokesman said the Children's Division went to the residence early where they located about 80 well-maintained mature marijuana plants. That's tight. Also, the deputy didn't find anyone home. They later found, after the marijuana plants, they found that the sheriff's office said the parents were only feeding the infant goat milk, mashed up Vienna sausages, and Mountain Dew Code Red. Not even regular Mountain Dew, dude. Mountain Dew Code Red. And this is crazy, but I actually have a photo of the child I would like to show you guys real quick. This is what, go ahead and blow that up full screen if we can. Oh, no, that's me. Oh, we just got it in the over the head. Well, you guys can see that was an actual, there it is, actual photo of the child who was being force-fed Vienna sausages and Mountain Dew Code Red. He seems healthy to me. This is an insane thing to me. We actually got I believe we have a second photo also. I wanted to make sure that that's him. What a beautiful kid. Look at that guy. Yes, oh, what a sweetie. He seems fine to me. For those of you listening on an audio platform, you're really missing out on something right now. It's a picture of an infant with a very large mullet. It says he was born with a suspended driver's license. We've all seen the meme. Come on, guys. I'm just curious. When I look at something like this and I see it, it is hard for me not to imagine the thought process that went into what we were going to feed the baby. You know what I mean? Like, this is This is the most central Missouri thing this is the most middle of the country thing I've ever heard of. This, my friends, is how you build a NASCAR driver from the ground up, okay? This is how, let me tell you something. This is Kid Rock's origin story, guys. We are witnessing it happening live. Can you imagine? I don't know if you guys have ever eaten Vienna sausage, even by accident, okay? It comes in a can. It never expires. No adult should be eating it, let alone should a child be imbibing Vienna sausage juice. But I'm pretty sure it makes you, if you drink enough Vienna sausage juice as a child, police tasers don't work on you. A lot of people don't know that. Have you ever seen a video of somebody getting tased who seems unaffected by it? You can bet your sweet ass that their parents were mashing up Vienna sausages and putting it into Mountain Dew Code Red and feeding it to them in a sippy cup or a bottle. Sucking them. And imagine the skills. Imagine the jaws on that child to be able to suck mashed up sausage through the nipple of a Playtex bottle. That's insane, dude. That kid has got a future. I'm telling you right now, you heard it here first, folks. That kid is going to be president of the United States someday. That kid, this is the origin story. Either that or he will 100% be a serial killer. Could go either way. Not going to lie to you. But the thought process that had to go through these parents' head, that's a straight-up dad food, dude. Like, a Vienna sausage isn't a kid food. That's a dad food. There's a lot of dad foods out there. Sardines, those circus peanuts that look like they're orange and look like peanuts, don't taste like oranges or peanuts. They do taste like drywall. I just assumed dads had these foods to keep kids from eating their food. I always assumed blue cheese is another, like blue cheese. You wouldn't feed a child blue cheese crumbles, would you? Hell no, you wouldn't, not unless you want that child to immediately stop believing in Santa Claus, okay? You can't do that. There are certain foods, if you eat them as a child, you immediately lose your sense of wonder, and you go and you get a fucking job, okay? You accidentally take a drink of Squirt grapefruit soda when you're a kid, you think, oh, hey, it's soda. It must be good. You accidentally let a little bit of grapefruit hit your lips and that little thing that hangs down the back of your throat. You know what happens? You lose your sense of imagination, and you go and you work at a coal mine for the rest of your life. That's what happens. Because there are certain foods that when they touch a child's lips, your childhood's over. And Vienna sausages are one of those foods. If you're mashing up Vienna sausages and you're chasing it down with the Code Red Mountain Dew, not even regular, dude. You got this guy, this kid, I'm telling you, he's going to be in a stroller and in the X Games immediately this year. There's no way. A lot of people are being hard on these parents. I personally think they're prepping this kid for a crazy life. This kid goes to sleep at night. He doesn't listen to lullabies. He listens to fucking Slipknot, okay? This kid is going to bed every night listening to Slipknot, and you know what he dreams about? Nothing, because you don't get to dream anymore after you eat a Vienna sausage. Your dreams go away. He sits, all he sees is that fucking scene from Ghostbusters 2 where Vigo is like killing a bunch of people out on the battlefield. That's what this kid sees when he closes his eyes at night, all right? He sees that, and he sees fucking Dale Earnhardt going into the wall and burning it. That's it. That's all he sees. And that kid is going to stand the test of time.
Chip, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
There he is. We have actual audio of this child. Go ahead and play that again.
Chip, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
That's right. That's exactly what he sounds like. Do we have any more audio of that child? Just Chip, I'm going to come at you like a spider. Let's play it one more time then. We paid for it. Let's do it.
Chip, I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
That's right. That was the only statement we got from the child, okay, as he was hauled away by DCFS. So I hope, in all seriousness, though, I do hope that whatever foster home he went to knows that they have a future X Games NASCAR champion on their hands, and that they don't even try to get this kid to study anything in the books. But that's one crazy story I wanted to talk about with you guys. Here's another one. I saw a clip. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. There's a movie coming out. I grew up around the time, Y2K was a thing. People were scared about Y2K. I don't know if you guys were ever scared about Y2K, but there's a new movie coming out called Y2K. I believe it's made by Jonah Hill. And I was checking out the preview. And let's check out the preview, and then let's talk about it. How about that? Coming at you.
Let's check it.
Fire.
Any lucky lady gonna get the midnight kiss?
Just talk to her, dude.
Let's go big, baby.
What's up, Laura?
We're actually going to this New Year's thing. It's going to be a total shit show.
Oh.
See ya.
It's 1999, and we getting drunk.
In a few hours, you have an excuse to kiss the girl of your dreams.
Open up. Take us away.
So smooth.
Y2K is real.
This is what everyone thought was going to happen at Y2K. We're witnessing it right now.
On the net?
Dumbass. I use gel.
All right, that guy just got roasted by a can of Aquanet hairspray.
Oh, shit. A Tamagotchi just drilled through a chick's head. Come on, we gotta go.
Jonah Hill produced.
Major problems as a result of the Y2K breakdown.
Bye-bye, human race.
We're talking global computer apocalypse.
Sorry, guys. I guess you're fucked.
They made a video on everything. That's crazy.
Kyle Mooney directed. There we go. I knew it was someone famous.
Grab a bike, grab a board, grab whatever you can.
This has been the shittiest night of my life.
Now, I saw this movie in the 1980s when it was called Maximum Overdrive, okay? You guys get the gist of it. So we're looking at it. It's Y2K's happening. All the machines come to life. The computers come to life and try to kill us all. It looks fun. It looks cool. I like the take on it. I can't wait to see it. But I remember that time very well in my life, which is it's always interesting to me. You know, you go through these times. There's a whole generation out there that doesn't even remember what Y2K was. There's like kids voting now. There's people drinking alcohol. They don't know shit about Y2K. So 1999, for those of you that don't know, my producer might be one of them for all I know. I don't know how old how old are you, man? 24. So this kid was born right after Y2K that I got running the fucking boards right now. All right? He doesn't know shit. You don't know shit, Zane. He's bowing off camera, which he should be. Y2K was a crazy time because the entire world, half the world thought that because they didn't program computers for the clocks to change to the year 2000, that the entire power grid was going to go down, and then we were going to be blasted back into the Stone Ages or straight up Terminator 2, Skynet goes live, we're all going to die. A lot of people believe that. People had preparedness kits. People had, like, you know, buckets full of Vienna sausages like they was feeding that kid, like, down in their basement. People were worried that in complete pandemonium, Red Dawn style, we're going to have to reframe society. Democracy's dead, everything. Or you went to a house party and you listened to Prince. We're going to party like it's 1999, and you tried to finger bang somebody. There were two camps. Those were the two camps. I was in the latter camp. I was in the Prince finger bang camp, okay? Sorry, 1999, pretty sure I was what? Let's do that math, 20, maybe, 19 years old. I'm full finger bang camp, okay? But this movie is entertaining the other camp, which is everything does go crazy, society does fall, and I'm just glad to see somebody going back and revisiting that period of my life because it was a wild time. People really thought, I mean, we go through this period once a generation where everyone thinks society's about to fall, and we're putting, you know, solar-powered flashlights and buckets of Vietnam-era MREs in our basement and, you know, preparing, you know, hoarding water and toilet paper. I mean, we did it during COVID. That was our thing. A lot of toilet paper. No canned goods because we've gotten dumber as a society as we go. We hoarded meat. We hoarded all the perishables, which was really stupid during COVID. But hey, we're getting dumber. We've proved that as a society. But it was always interesting to me to go down these rabbit holes of Y2K. And I remember being kind of scared. Like, it was kind of a freaky moment in time, like when they were counting down. But then everyone was like, well, which time zone? No one thought about that ahead of time. So it's like, well, as the time zones started to kind of, the dominoes started to fall and nothing seemed to be happening. It turns out computers were fine. I don't even think they had to put a program into them to fix them. I think they just figured out what year it was. They clicked over and everything was fine. It was the most anticlimactic thing you could probably possibly imagine. Not a single thing happened. No flights got canceled. Nothing. So there was just a bunch of people sitting on a lot of packs of hot dogs in their basement. And it turns out the finger bang camp was the right camp to be in because I had a blast on New Year's Eve, 1999. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't remember a lot of it, but I know I got drunk on Rumplemints, and I think a girl stuck her finger in my butt for the first time. Unannounced, by the way, but whatever. Y2K, everybody was in a weird place. So I'm not mad at her about it. But I do remember she had a French manicure, and so when she popped that finger in without my permission, or not necessarily permission, I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't consensual, I didn't know it was coming. And that's something I feel like with the dude for the first time, if you're going to put a finger in there, you got to at least let him know, hey, this is Pop Goes the Weasel. Here's this. And she had the French manicure was a very squared off. And I think I seized up a little bit and it cut my butthole a little bit. Didn't love that. And, so I spent the very first moments of the new millennium with blood trickling down my leg coming from my own butthole, from what otherwise could have been a pleasurable experience and a great way to ring in the new year. So Y2K is very much ingrained in my mind that way. I believe her name was Ellen. And Ellen, I'm not mad at you. I want you, if you're watching this right now, I'm not mad at you. You were trying new things. I should have been hip to it. I was the square. You were cool. You were ready for the next millennia. I was stuck in the 1900s. And your finger and your fingernail grazing the skin of my asshole and making it bleed woke me up, okay? Like that, I could hear that song before it came out. Wake me up inside. That happened. You literally woke me up inside with your finger and your fingernail. So I thank you, Ellen. You got me through Y2K. You got me into the new millennia, and I look forward to this movie directed by Kyle Mooney and produced by Jonah Hill. So when it comes out, I'll watch it. I'll give you the number 2 movie review of the Y2K movie. But now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with messages, emails, live calls, 818-532-1420 if you want to talk to me live. Maybe something we talked about today piqued your interest, and you want to talk to old Rafe about it. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you won't call at all, and I'll just sit here in silence and stare at a screen and wonder what the fuck I'm doing this show for in the first place. I don't know what's going to happen. But 818-532-1420, and I got some messages. You guys have been blowing up the hotline. I got a couple messages I'd like to respond to, and we'll get with it right after this. A word from our sponsor, HPV. Chances are you already got it. And we are back from that 13-minute commercial break. You guys, thank you for sticking around for it. I can't believe, I don't know why we piled so many people want to sponsor this show. Honestly. I got to beat him away with a stick. I only choose the best sponsors. HPV, Tampax, Martin Skelly, the guy that ran the prices up on the AIDS PrEP drugs. Those are the people I let sponsor the number 2 show. Only the best of the best. Now, I'm going to get into some stuff. The number you can call is 818-532-1420. That's 818-532-1420. One last time, I'm going to flash the number magically. It takes a second. It's hard to cast a spell, in case you guys didn't know. There it is. Boom. Got it. Nailed it. 818-532-1420. Give me a buzz. Let's chat. Let's talk about some stuff we talked about today, or maybe you just need advice or you want to get something off your chest. Feel free to call in and talk to me in a segment that I like to call Tank Talks. Talking in the tank, talking tonight. You're gonna talk to me. Oh, okay. Didn't expect to come back that quickly. Just pretend like I wasn't singing that live and that we paid for the voiceover that I forgot to record last week. If you're just tuning in, we've already talked about a whole bunch of cool stuff. But now I want to get to some messages, emails, and possible phone calls. Again, the number to call live is 818-532-1420. Give me a call. Maybe you got a good Y2K story. Maybe something spoke to you. Maybe there's a movie you'd like to see get remade. Whatever we've talked about thus far, or if there's just something you want to get off your chest, just don't ask me what my favorite barbecue sauce is. That's boring as fuck, and I've already answered it like 100 times. No sauce. I'm a dry rub man. Everybody knows that. Dry rub. No wetness. Go in dry. You heard it here first. Never wet. Always go in dry. All right. That being said, let's get to a little voicemail, shall we? I want to give you a little update. First and foremost, I got an update from somebody they'd called in. I'm going to play the message. They gave me an update on a situation. I'll get you guys up to speed in case you haven't seen the previous episode. Let's go ahead and play the message right now.
Rafe, I called in a little while ago. You and Tina gave me some advice about a girlfriend wife that had a guy in her life. She didn't want to leave him because social media. So I ended up talking to her, and I got her to actually start distancing herself away from that guy. She'll still talk to him here and there, but she's trying to limit the amount of time that she's talking to him, where it will slowly break off and they won't be friends anymore. Just better our relationship, and, you know, she doesn't need that guy in her life. Thanks for all the advice. Love the show. Bye.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to hear. Quick recap of that story. Had a fella call in. His girl, been with her a while, had a guy friend. Can't remember if it was a work friend or just a guy friend from her past. She hung out with them a lot. He had sent her a couple of messages that seemed a little over the line. Or maybe told her he had feelings for her. She was trying to work it out. She's like, he's a friend. I value his friendship. And, I'm like, yeah, if they're friends and they can work it out, cool. But it seemed like the thing she was worried about was like, hey, this guy has a history of, like, if he's mad at somebody, trashing you and, like, dragging your name through the mud and ruining your reputation. And that's the reason I don't want to distance myself from him. And I was like, oh, you don't want to be friends with this person anyway, regardless. So I think Tina and I's final advice was to, like, hey, slowly distance yourself, let it taper off naturally. Maybe have a talk with your girlfriend about, hey, this isn't about me being jealous. It's more about, like, yo, this is a toxic person. Sounds like they implemented our advice. Sounds like, for the most part, she's trying to distance herself from that dude, because he was definitely, he sounded like a horrible, horrible, toxic human being. And I'm like, if you're friends with somebody just to keep them from running you in the ground or trashing you, that is not a good friend to have, and that person gots to go. So, congrats, man. I'm glad that went well for you. And I'm glad that you called back and gave me the update. Next up, I'm going to play another voice message, I think, because I want to kind of get into this. This was a very nice message from a listener up in Canada. You know Canada, where they talk like this up in Canada. You know Canada, where they wear kilts and play the bagpipes and all that. Canada! Yeah, I'm a worldly man. What can I say? Let's see what they want to talk about here in Canada. Perfect. Perfect Canadian accent.
Hi, Rafe. This is Chris from Canada. I just wanted to say that I love the number 2
Sounds
show.
nothing like that.
You give off some serious Alan Cross vibes. Radio show that I grew up listening to, and it was just a household staple.
Okay.
My question to you is, who has inspired you or influenced you in your work with radio over the years? And I guess who are some of your favorite on-air personalities? And I guess that's it. So it was really great meeting you on the cruise on the Tammy's Pontoon Party. We had a blast, and hopefully we'll see you again in 2026, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. That was a very sweet, thoughtful message. I don't get a ton of those. I usually just get updates on how hard of a poop someone's having. I get a lot of people call me from, hey, it's the nature of the show. I'm not mad about it. Keep calling me. Let me know how your shits are going. That was a very thoughtful gal, clearly lying about being from Canada. I mean, you don't sound Canadian to me. You sound like you're from the United States or something. But it's fine. If you want to say you're from Canada, okay. You clearly are from fucking North Dakota or somewhere like that. But that's a great question. You know, radio was a detour for me that I didn't see coming in my career, and I really enjoyed it. And I know that, like, radio was huge. I remember, like, being a kid, sitting in my room, listening to, like, Casey Kasem's Top 40 and trying to, like, time it on a little boombox cassette that had the capabilities to record. You know what I'm talking about? Where you could just, like, waiting for a song I wanted because I couldn't afford. I mean, Columbia House, I got away with that once. Got Michael Jackson's Thriller and Kenny Rogers' The Gambler for 1 cent, and then my mom got a bill for Columbia House for all the other stuff I ordered, and it got canceled immediately, returned to sender. But so the only way to get music back in the day, if you wanted to listen to it and you were poor, was you had to listen to radio. You had to listen to the Top 40 or, like, whatever. If you like country, I remember trying to get Garth Brooks' song Rodeo all fucking day, dude. Waiting for him to play it on a Sunday so I could record it. Then I got up to take a shit, and they played it, and I had to wait like another 2 hours for him to play it again. But I got it because I wanted it. That's how you learned the words back in the day. You just had to if you didn't own the cassette that had the words inside the little thing, you just had to play it on repeat and learn the words to a song. So a lot of those Casey Kasem's and his dedications, and I remember listening to Delilah. Don't sleep on Delilah, dude. But I will say I was also a fan of talk radio, like, later in my life. I really got I loved the quintessential talk radio person. On Sundays, I always remember, like, riding in my parents' car and listening to Paul Harvey tell a story. For those of you that don't know, can you blow that up? Let's take a look at old Paul. Look at that guy. That's an old school news. That's a talk radio face if I've ever seen it. That guy. And he had such a crazy voice. He used to tell, like, really interesting. He would do the research and tell a really interesting, like, 15-minute tale about something. And he'd be like, and that's, now you know the rest of the story. I'm Paul Harvey. And that is the rest of the story. It almost sounded like someone was squeezing his testicles at, like, a 4. You know, like, not at a 10, but at a 4. And, like, someone under the desk really, like, he had a producer who had a really tight grip on his, like, Benoit balls on Paul Harvey's testicles and, like, kind of, like, massaging them because his voice had a bit of a quiver. Like someone had grabbed his balls. Hi, Paul Harvey. And that's the rest of the story. In fact, let's find a little Paul Harvey excerpt. There's got to be one on YouTube somewhere, right?
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV
That's actually true,
is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Well, he didn't say his tagline, but let's be honest, my impression was pretty fucking dead on. Doesn't it sound like somebody squeezing that guy's testicles? Now, that was a pretty crazy one. I've never actually heard that one before, but he's so... let me see if I can find it, if that's the rest of the story. I love Paul Harvey, but that guy's voice, that guy, you don't have like radio people doing that anymore, right? Like doing a 5-minute breakdown of one thing like that. Like that's back when radio people were kind of like news anchors. Like now, I mean, there's still some talk radio folk, but now it's so polarized. It's the Alec Joneses of the world. It's the fucking Rush Limbaughs of the world. Or on the other side, the Keith Olbermanns. Not to make it political, but it's like there used to be trusted voices on the radio that like were trusted by both sides. Maybe when the sides weren't so extreme. And I feel like Paul Harvey was one of those. So I always looked up to Paul Harvey. Let me see if I can get a that's the rest of the story because I want you guys to hear him say it. That's the rest of the story. Give it to me, Paul. Let's see what we got here. All right. Paul Harvey, The Vacation of a Lifetime. This one's called A Boy Called Useless, but it's only 42 seconds long, so let's play it, and I'm going to talk a little so I can, oh, wait, that's long as hell. We ain't doing that.
And he's headed down to the creek. And
it seemed that every rant was unforgettable.
Get out of here. See if we can get it from him. Ready?
Genius, which he was. Utterly courageous, which he was. The 18th president, which he became. Only today you've met the boy nicknamed Useless. The gentle soul who shunned the slaughter of the innocent, a young man from Point Pleasant, Ohio, named Hiram Ulysses Simpson Grant. General Ulysses Grant. Only now you know the rest of the story.
Bam! The call sign as his testicles got squeezed tighter. And now you know the rest of the story. So, number one, Paul Harvey. Number two, to answer the other part of your question, I love the guy named George Noory. I don't know if you guys, I got really into some kooky stuff. When I started smoking weed in college, I started listening to Coast to Coast, Paranormal, Tuesdays. My man, George Noory, man, he was always cooking up some crazy shit. He'd have people call into a show, much like I do this show. Not that anyone's calling right now. That's kind of a bummer. But he'd have people call in and talk about Bigfoot and talk about, I don't know, all sorts of shit, man. Whether they saw aliens, he'd have like people calling in. And I mean, it was paranormal podcasting before paranormal podcasting even existed. Okay. And George had some, and he did not screen his callers. He had some wild people calling in. And I thought George did a good job handling live calls, spinning plates. A lot of what I do here on the number 2 show when I do it live on YouTube is influenced by my man, George Noory. So those are 2 guys that I really looked up to, Mr. or Mrs. Canada. That's Paul Harvey and George motherfucking Noory. All right, let me check my little call log, and if I don't have anybody calling in, which it doesn't look like I do, I'm going to get to a quick email, and then we're going to wrap this little bitch up. All right, here we go. Let's see here. Let me go to my little email sheet. Here we go. Dear Captain Porksteak, that's me. Would you be willing to let the wife peg a dude asking for a friend? Moist Caverns. Signed Moist Caverns. Okay. Moist Caverns. I feel like you're not asking for a friend. I feel like you're asking for yourself. That's actually a really good question. You know, we get into some stuff on this show. I've talked about it with Tina. I've got into some stuff about, open relationships. Is that a real thing? Is that something people do? Is that something people fantasize about? Sometimes the reality is not the same as the fantasy. You can't unring that bell. Like once you see your partner getting banged out or they've slept with someone else or, you find out the guy that you did the couple swap with has a 10-inch hog, that's a bell you can't unring, my friends. You got to be cool with it. And sometimes you think you'll be cool and you won't. Or maybe you will. But this is an interesting quandary because I don't even know if I'd feel like this was cheating, to be honest with you. I think if there's anything you're going to let your lady do with another guy, pegging him, probably the easiest pill to swallow, right? I'm just being honest. Like, if you're like, hey, I want to bang your girl out, and you sit in the corner and watch, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe, but that sounds kind of shitty for me. I don't really love that arrangement. That'd be hard for me to watch, but if you're like, hey, I want your wife to strap on this Husqvarna electric dildo, fire it up, and just rail me in the ass for a half an hour. Yeah, that's on you, man. Honestly, like, if she's into it, I would imagine if I was willing to let her do anything, it would definitely be to peg a dude. Now, I don't know if she would be into it. So, honestly, you got to get her consent. As far as my side of the fence, I don't really have a huge problem with the idea. That seems like the easiest. If you're going to ease yourself into, we were talking about Burning Man today, and there's an orgy tent at Burning Man. Now, in the orgy tent, you got to go through you got to go through line. It's almost like riding a roller coaster. You got to go through line. You got to get into the orgy tent at Burning Man. A lot of people are hot at the Burning Man orgy tent. And you get inside as a couple, and you can go right or you can go left. Okay, now right is voyeurism, right? You can just fuck in front of people. You can put a sheet down on a futon and bang your wife out. People are allowed to watch. No one's allowed to touch. You don't ask other people to join. You don't join other people. It's kind of the gateway to the real deal, which is on the left, and that's full-on orgy. That's full-on tap you on the shoulder, may I cut in, old school, pardon me, but I noticed there's an empty hole. Do you mind if I fill it? Total debauchery. Hey, someone might even tap you on the shoulder, and you think it's like a finger, and you just look over, and it's just a dick tapping you on the shoulder, being like, peekaboo, I see you. Want to kiss it? I don't know. I don't know how orgies work. I've never been in one. But I assume if you go full-on orgy like that, that's what's happening. So I feel like if you're trying to work your way up, other than the right side of the tent, the voyeurism side, where you're fucking and someone else is watching, where you're doing the deed and someone else is peekabooing on you, the next logical step would be watching your lady peg a dude, because I'm not personally into that. So I'd be unaffected by it. It's really about if she's into it or whatever. You're not really touching her. She's just kind of taking you to Pound Town. You know, I don't know if you got a ball gag in your mouth. I don't know how far down the pegging hole we're going. But it seems like that would be a next logical step to see, like, how deep into the left side of the tent are we willing to go? So using all of those things the universe has laid in my lap today, yeah, I'd let my lady peg you. I would. But she's not my wife. She's just my partner. But it wouldn't matter if she was. I'd still let her do it. So there you go. Moist Caverns. Hate that name. I hate the name and the subject matter, but assuming you have moist caverns, because you know my motto, go in dry. I've already said it twice. Never wet, always dry. But short answer, yes, I would let my wife peg you. So what a great place to end today's number 2 show. You know, just a guy getting pegged by another guy's gal. After we talked about Paul Harvey, if I were the devil, I'd let a man peg my wife. If I were the devil, oh wait, no, I got to do that again. If I were the devil, if I were the devil, I'd let my wife peg another man. If I were the devil, I'd go to Burning Man and take my wife into the orgy dome tent, and I'd go right and lay out some sheets on a futon and bang my wife in front of a bunch of other hot people dressed up like steampunk characters. If I were the devil, I'd get up and go to the left side of the tent and hope that someone didn't tap me on the shoulder with their wiener and ask me to give it a little butterfly kiss. If I were the devil, if I were the devil, I'd come home and I'd build a sex dungeon in my basement, and I would tell all my friends it was a new pool table I was putting in. If I were the devil, I'd invite all my friends over, and I'd be like, guys, have you ever kissed a wiener or tapped you on the shoulder asking for a friend? If I were the devil, I'd email a show live from a bathroom stall, and I would ask if the guy would let his wife peg me. If I were the devil, I'd just keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm Rafe Williams / Paul Harvey. And that concludes today's number 2 show. Oh. All right. We'll be back just a second to wrap this bitch up after a break from our sponsor, HPV. Come on, give it to me. Wowie, wow. Wow, what a show. Here we are. We're back. We had all kinds of fun today. Did our 15 minutes with Riz where we broke down which movies we'd like to remake and why. How we could make a Point Break parody if we wanted to. All sorts of stuff. We got into a family from Missouri that got their kid taken away because they only fed him Vienna sausages and Mountain Dew Code Red, which is fucking insane. We got into messages about the people who inspired me in radio. And we ended perfect dismount, if you ask me, about whether or not I'd let Tina peg somebody. So whatever you're into, there was a little bit of it in this podcast today. But you can really help me out, and this actually does help me. I know it's cliche to ask, but like, subscribe, share, go on Spotify. I don't know what platform you listen to. I just saw Spotify has a new feature where you can actually leave comments, just like you can on YouTube. So go on Spotify. Because of Megaphone, the video plays on Spotify. You get the best of both worlds if you missed it on YouTube. And you can leave me a comment. Leave me a 5-star rating. Tell me why you like the show. Leave comments on the episode. Kind comments. Nice comments. Funny comments. You're going to be a dick. What are you even doing there? I didn't ask for you to watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But if you do like it, let people know about it because it helps me grow the podcast. It'll help me get funding to get YouTube Premium. Or when I play a video to comment on it, I don't have to do 5 seconds of an insurance ad. That'll be helpful to everybody, honestly. So, I appreciate you. Make sure to like and subscribe and smash that like button harder than I'm going to let Tina smash Moist Caverns with the strap-on ding-dong, all right? Until next time, I'm your host. This is the number 2 show. I am Rafe Williams, and always wipe front to back.